Okay, today I'm going to be coding on the Zeebe client for Node.js. I got an issue in the repo here. Let's have a look. Issues. Transition. Here we go. Okay, it's this one here. Connecting to non-existent broker does not fail as expected in Node-RED. So the Node-RED guys who built the Node-RED client for Zeebe reported it. And then since then the Command Cloud guys got in touch with me as well. So basically what happens is that we added a gRPC retry strategy to the library, and what that does is when your client application loses connection to the broker, it just continually retries. But the side effect of that is that there's no way for your application logic to be notified that, hey, the connection failed. So Node-RED, it doesn't update to tell you that, oh, this connection doesn't work. And then the other thing that happens is that in Command Cloud they also can't tell that the connection failed. So it took me a few days, about 3 days, to figure out what I was going to do, and then I figured it out. This is what I'm going to implement today. Okay, let's do it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start a broker. So I'm using the Zeebe Docker Compose. So DC, which is it's like an alias for Docker Compose, DC up. I'll start a broker locally, and I'm going to run my integration test before I do any coding, because I got to make sure that it actually works. And then when I know that it's green, then I'll start coding, and I can just go red, green, red, green. Okay, it started. It's pretty fast. And so here I can go npm run test, and then I'm going to run the integration tests. So integration. Here we go. Running the integration tests. Let's make this a little bigger so we can see it happen. Looking good so far. It's throwing some errors in here in the broker, but that's expected because I'm doing things to test what happens when you do things that will cause like an error response from the broker, like cancelling things that don't exist. It's looking good so far. The integration tests take a little while to run because some of them require like 10-second delays. Looking good so far. You got to test things like timeouts. Long polling takes I think 15 seconds to test. Looking good. Your tests give you surety that, okay, there we go. So we ran 66 tests, they all passed, and it took 1 minute and 10 seconds. Okay, let's start coding. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my issue that I updated. And on here I kind of spec'd out what I'm going to do. So I'm going to provide a first class onReady event on the Zeebe client that fires whenever a stable connection is achieved, and an onConnection event that's debounced, and a connected property that can be examined. Okay, an onReady event, an onConnectionError event, and a connected property. Yeah, okay, let's just do this. Okay, transition back to here. Okay, what do we got going on here? Okay, so let's get some more music happening in the background. Listening to monstercat.com tracks with my Creator Gold license, $6 a month, and unlimited streaming of all their artists, pre-releases, and also the ability to put it into your stream without having to pay any royalties. That's the royalty you pay. Okay, so we're going to modify the Zeebe client. Now, what I said I would do is I would add an onReady event. Okay, so the constructor should therefore take an onReady event. So go to the definition of the options. Okay, so we're going to now add an optional onReady handler. So it's optional, and it's going to be, it's just going to take a nothing and move this where I can see it. void. So it's just a callback handler. Keep that open. Reopen the Zeebe client. Okay, so I can now take an onReady. So if I just say this onReady equals options onReady. onReady, it's going to tell me that that property doesn't exist. This.options.onReady. There you go. You can see it's been added to the interface. But the property doesn't exist on the class, so I just go here and say declare the property. And it's added it. Okay, listen, if you know that it can't be declared after private, why didn't you put it at the top? It's got to be either public or... Let's make it... fix it. Public? Yeah, good. I don't know why it's chosen that signature. This signature is a bit better. Yeah, good. It means that whenever I want to use it, I have to test for its existence, which is useful. Okay, so now the thing about this is that the client has a gRPC connection, and I dried out the constructor of the gRPC connection as a method. Let's collapse all these methods. There's a hotkey that can collapse all methods, but I can't remember what it is. There it is there, construct gRPC client. So let's reduce the noise in the IDE. It's like Command Control Shift 1 or something to collapse everything down. Pull all these down so we don't have to look at them. Method implementations. Constructor. If there's a way I can get a playlist to play. I got my own playlist in here, I'll just put that on. Coding. Haven't really updated it for a while, but that's cool. Start with Conroe. No, let's start with Pathfinder. That's quite a cool album. Yeah, pretty chill. Okay, so we construct a gRPC client, and the gRPC client is the component that communicates with the broker, and it starts a gRPC channel, and under the hood it uses like the C library or the C++ library from Google. Now, the gRPC client has a bunch of properties that we're passing in, so I think we need to extend this to add an on. We need to extend it to add an onReady property. Yeah, okay, so this.onReady. Now it's complaining that it doesn't exist on the constructor, so we'll go to the constructor here, and we can say onReady, and then we'll add it in here into the type signature for the constructor. It's optional, and it's just a simple callback. If it's present, save. Now let's go back here. Not sorted alphabetically. Yeah, this is real strict. There. So with this, declared but it's never read, so that's cool. So, all good. What we'll do is we'll just add this onReady to the gRPC client. And then it's going to complain the same way. It's going to say this property doesn't exist. So again, we'll do the same thing. Add the property. It's added it. Strange signature. Fix the declaration. Oh, look at that. Moved it up. But didn't make it public. That's pretty cool. So we'll make it public. And we'll make it optional. And then we'll just make it a concrete type like this. And it's either there or not there. Okay, let's go back here. Looking good. onReady, this onReady. Okay, so now we've got to call this onReady handler when it is actually ready. Now I think it actually emits a ready method, right? a ready event here. So it actually emits a ready event. Now, it's a little complicated because when it loses its connection from the broker, it bounces, it goes ding 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 ding, ready error, ready error, ready error, ready error, and I don't want to call the onReady handler like that. I want to debounce it, so I want to wait for like 2 seconds and then go, yeah, it's really ready, or 3 seconds or whatever, and we'll make that configurable. So I'm going to have to put some kind of debouncing logic on that. So I don't want to put that in the constructor. I'm going to have to, that's a big constructor, man. I'll put that in another method. So it's going to be a private method because nothing else is going to call it from outside. So private set ready. Let's try that. So it's going to be private set ready. And then what I need to do is watch gRPC channel, close that, flatten that, flatten that. This is an open source library. I actually wrote this when I was working for a financial services company in Brisbane, and then I got hired by Camunda off the back of writing this and you know, writing about writing it. Okay, so this is the constructor here. So I think what we should do is, okay, so I'm going to have access to the onReady, and then where's that emit? Let's find that emit again. Okay, it's just this emit, so I've extended the event emitter for this class. Yeah. So I can just do this. I can go this on ready. So whenever the ready event is called, we're gonna call the this dot set ready. Now the thing about this is I'm binding it into binding it here with a lambda rather than just putting this dot set ready straight in there, because otherwise we'll lose the context of the class and it will get called in the context of the event emitter or something. I don't know. It'll lose its context anyway. So okay, private set ready. Now, okay, let's just start with a naive implementation. We would just go this dot onReady. If it exists, we'll call it. So I could do a shorthand syntax like this. Short circuit, but I'm going to be a little bit more kind of explicit and verbose about what I'm doing here. So if there is an onReady callback, then call the onReady callback. Now, the thing is, I need to debounce this. So we've got to debounce it, which means we don't want it to be called multiple times. Not only do we want to debounce it, but we want to put like a tolerance in there. So we're going to have to hold some state somewhere outside of this to tell whether it's been called or not. So let's just spec out what we're going to do. So if the oh yeah, okay, not to do. Yeah. So if the error event, yeah, okay. So here's how I'm going to do it. So if it's set to onReady, this dot ready timer, ready, what is it? I'll just call it ready timer to begin with, and we'll give it a better name in a second. So we're going to set a timeout, and in the timeout, we're going to put this this. Okay. Now, what doesn't it like about that? Okay, yeah, this doesn't exist, so let's add this as a private property. So I'll make this private, and we'll say like might or might not be there. and then I'll use refactor rename symbol to change the name to a better name. So let's say so the connection tolerance, possibly undefined, but okay, well we know that it is defined because we never set the time. It's strange that it can't figure that out. I guess it could become undefined between there and there, which is what it's thinking about. We know it's not, so we'll just assert that it does exist. Okay, we're going to declare a property connection tolerance, and we'll make it private as well, and we'll have to either set it as a static method or a static property, or push it down into it. No initializer, it's not definitely a sign in the constructor. So to begin with, we'll make it here, we'll just set it connection tolerance, and then we'll make it 3 seconds, and then we'll put a to-do on here, make configurable. Make configurable. Alright, pretty chill soundtrack today. Okay, so handle gRPC error, we can collapse that, set ready, yeah, okay. So it's going to wait for 3 seconds, then it's going to call this, right? Once it goes ready. But then what we want to do is we want to cancel this timer on an error. So what we'll do is we'll make another private method called setNotReady. And we'll do the same thing, but what we'll do in here is we'll say if the this.readyTimer is exists, because what we'll do in here is not only we will call that, but we'll go this.readyTimer equals undefined. Now if there is a ready timer, then we'll clear the timeout. Clear timeout, yeah? What happened there? Clear timeout. Auto import. Yeah. This.ready timer. So that will stop the onReady from being called if it errors within 3 seconds. Yes! This thing here reckons it knows what to do. Yeah, fix it. Okay, so we've got to go back up here, and then we could actually do this. If onReady, only do these things if there's actually something to do. It can make it a little bit more memory efficient because we're not creating these handlers and listeners if there's no requirement for them. Set not ready. N, it's there. Not ready. I'm using a Colmac keyboard layout. Been using it for about a month, 2 months maybe? Getting close to 2 months. And then I used Dvorak for a year before that, and then I used QWERTY for like 30 odd years. Touch typing for like 20 odd. So I'm getting a split keyboard because I started doing it just to keep my brain working, and I've come to realize that my shoulders actually have some like RSI type kind of thing from just sitting at the keyboard typing. And then I bought one of these things. It's a kind of a ghetto one. This is like a posture corrector, and you wear it. It's a bit small, but I got another one coming that's a better size, and it kind of goes over your arms, and this goes on your back, and it pulls your shoulders back. This one's too small. But once I started doing that, I noticed that when I'm using my keyboard, my hands are like real cramped together. So I'm gonna go with a split keyboard next. I don't think it's the keyboard layout. I think it's the angle of my shoulders. But anyway, I'm in Colmac now, so I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so we set these up, and then I got to close this here. So if we okay, on an error, we're going to call set not ready, and then we're going to call set ready. And then the other thing about set ready is that we should probably cancel the timer to reset it. So here we should say if this dot set ready timer. I don't know why it doesn't show up. Okay, if there is a ready timer already set, then we should do clear the timeout. This dot ready. I'm just gonna go for touch typing now, see if I can pull it off. This dot ready timer. Clear the timeout. Okay. This connection tolerance. Okay, debounce rapid connect disconnect. Oh, cheated, looked at the keyboard. There we go. Debounce rapid connect disconnect. Set not ready if there's a ready timer, so this is called if there's an error. It's going to clear the ready timeout. And then we're probably going to have to debounce the same thing, because if I go back to Chrome, if we go back and have a look at Chrome again, what I committed to doing here is an onReady event that fires whenever a stable connection is achieved, and an onConnection event that's debounced. Why do we need both of those? Oh no, onConnectionError event that's debounced. So we need an onConnectionError. And then let's add this connected property in, because that's pretty easy to do at this point. So we'll add the connected property. Okay, so there is no connected property right now, so we'll just create a public property called connected, right? It's going to be a boolean, and then we'll just initialize it to false. And yeah, you don't need to strictly, explicitly type it as boolean if you initialize it as false, because it'll infer that, but we'll just do that anyway. Okay, so and then here we should say that this dot connected equals true. Connected. I had a macro key for that. Nope. I put it. No. Here? Here. Nope. There? No. Maybe on a different keyboard. This dot connected equals true, so we're now connected. Okay, we're gonna have to debounce the disconnect as well. Because we don't want to call the onConnectionError handler. Anyway, we've got like a ready handler, and we should write a test for this before we go any further. I should have written the test first, actually. Let's go into tests. Yeah, I should have written a test and had it go red first, and then written the implementation. Whatever. It's going to be an integration test because we need a broker. So we're going to call this one the client onReady.spec.ts. And then I'm just going to go in and, I don't know, grab this test, paste it into here. So now we actually don't need this anymore. Take that out. Okay. So let's just go down here. Now, what we want to say is, I guess it doesn't. Hang on, I've got someone wanting to come in the door. Give me a second. And we're back. Okay, so we're writing this test. Okay, so yeah, I don't like doing those backslash things. We'll use ES6 little template syntax. Okay, so it should not report ready. It doesn't call the onReady handler if there's no broker. So this is what I mean by having to wait, you know, for oh man. Yeah, we can do this. So we'll go const ZBC equals. Oh, it's going to give me a ZBC in the scope anyway. Why? Oh yeah, I did it so I could close it there. Well, we're going to create a new one because we want to give it a gateway that doesn't exist. So we'll give it a gateway called local toast. And then we'll say doesn't exist. And then in the options we're going to call our onReady. We're going to put an onReady handler in here. And then now with jest, I think we can do something that should never be called. Async done. Yeah, so then what we do here is we're going to set a timeout. It's a spy, I think it's called. And we'll wait for 10 seconds. And then in order to be able to do that, I think we have to do like jest.setTimeout. Is it equals or? Work of failure. Let's have a look at one of these tests in here that I've got where it's async. Man, I don't keep all this stuff in my head. Wow, that's funny. Jest.setTimeout. Okay, yeah, you pass it in like this. So we'll make it 15 seconds, because that'll work. It's a 10-second wait here. Let's go to Chrome and have a look at jest spies, because you can set some kind of spy. No, actually, easy way to do it like this. We don't need to go there, we can just ghetto it. See, we just do like this. We go let called equals false, right? And then inside the onReady handler, we just set called equals true. And then inside this here, we should say expect called to be false. And then after that we call done, and then we are done. Don't know if it needs to be async because there's no await in there, so we'll take that out. And this one here, we'll rename this to onReady handler. Dude, this is going to extend the amount of time the integration tests take to run, but that's life, man. So now we can go npm run test. The cost of security. Now here we can specify, I think if I go onReady, it uses like a glob file matching to only run tests. Yeah, good. So it's not going to run all the tests, it's just going to run that one. Okay, good, we've got a failing test. It should actually pass, but let's have a look. Oh yeah, okay. So in here then, it's saying that I'm not using that, so I'll close it. It's a smart thing to do. Clean up. Okay, let's run it again. See what it does this time. Client onReady, spec TS running. I could have put a console log in there actually, but I don't think it outputs to the console till it finishes the test. But now I got like a 15-second test. It's kind of dumb. Okay, so what we'll do now is That's good. This is going to give the node red guys the ability to detect whether the connection succeeded or not, because in the background it was just continually retrying. So let's run it against an existing broker. Let's make it 4 seconds here. Now this test should now fail because the onReady handler for this second one should actually succeed. Ah, you know what I need to do here that's going to make it faster is I go up here and I put X in front of this one, so we don't want to run that first test again. Let's run the second test only. This is a cool track. What's this one called? No Taker. The Longest Night. Okay, so this one is not properly named. That one's correctly named. Does call the onReady handler. Okay, but you know what? That should have failed. Okay, so the onReady event did not get called. Okay, so we're gonna have to go in and do the console.log stuff. I mean, you could use the debugger, but meh. So I have this handy snippet at debug console.log set ready called. Let's just do it with that and see what happens. And then it puts this a console log, and it puts this comment with @debug on it, so I can easily find them and remove them later. None of them get through. It never got called. It never got called. Oh, I see, because this emit ready is only inside the gRPC handle error, so that's only a reconnect. Oh, inconsistent capitalization. So, okay, I don't know, maybe I need to, let's try just calling this straight up. Let's see what happens if as soon as I create it, I call that method. I'm gonna probably have to do it cleaner than this. What's this? Okay, that's for the stream. Let's see what happens if I just watch the gRPC channel. This is normally called after an error occurs, and then it watches it to make sure it's coming back up. Let's see what happens if I just put it in the constructor. Could be messy. Let's make this test actually fail as it should. Should be failing now. Let's run it again. But yeah, this is good. This is how you do it. You write a test that asserts the behavior that you want it to have, and then it fails. And then you're like, okay, now I need to write code until this test goes green. And then hopefully none of your other tests go red while you do it. It doesn't get called. Okay. Yep, that's good. But, okay, so let's put another debug log in here just to make sure. Sanity check. Yo, I'ma watch the gRPC channel. I mean, it may be that it doesn't do an emit because there's no state change. I'll probably have to look at the logic, just make sure that it is actually going through here. It's running the code I think it's running. Yeah, okay. Got called twice. 2 constructors? Yeah, okay, because there was one and then the second one. Okay. And then No, put another debug one here. Debug, so yeah, that was the one that's before each gets called, so here we'll just log out onReady and we'll use this ES6 shorthand syntax, which is good for debugging because it will print it out as an object, so I get like a label plus the value. So one should be undefined, and then the second one is also undefined. Okay, well that's good. Now we have a sense of why that is not working, because the onReady this dot onReady. Let's have a look at the test. I'm passing in an onReady value as an option. Let's have a look at the Zeebe client constructor to make sure that we're correctly assigning that. Okay, so options. That's why we're assigning this before here. Now, in the future we might want to put this onto the worker, in which case this is going to become quite complex. So I think what we should do is we should put it in here. Make it explicit. Like that. Because we actually call this constructor twice, or this method. So if I go down to construct gRPC client, and then we're going to have to take a onReady, it might be there, and if it is, it's going to be this. And it's saying that it never gets used, but that's cool because we'll now use it right here. Yeah, it's much better to have like an explicit passing of parameters, so you can like probably don't even need to have it in here anymore, which is good. But yeah, you saw as a race condition because I was assigning it at the wrong place, but here it's very clear exactly what's happening and when and how, and let's see if that works. Okay, looks like a different error. Yeah, okay, so this is the second place where I call it, right? And then we just pass in nothing there. Okay, this should work. What's up next in the soundtrack? It's No Taker. Where's he? Oh yeah. Into the Light VIP mix. Okay. What happened? Does call the onReady handler if there's no broker. Does call the onReady handler if there's no broker and it didn't get called. Okay. Did it console log anything? Nope. Yeah, it did. I'm gonna watch the... Okay, so now we know that the function is being passed in, okay? So that's good. So let's go back to the gRPC client, take out those debug methods, because we've proved what's happening there. Got to the source of why that didn't work. Now, let's have a look at... I'm gonna mark this as debug, so I don't forget to take it out. So let's go to the definition of this. Now what actually happens in here is that we get the client, if the channel's closed, then we're going to return, and then we get the connectivity state. Okay, so since there's no logger error, I would say, well, no, hang on, let's just prove it. My assertion is that this is getting called. Channel closed. Run the test again. Yeah, I might have to rethink the architecture of this whole internals, because it starts to, you know, what's a simple, beautiful pattern starts to fracture once you start to do changes like this. Okay, let's have a look. No, that did not get called at all. Okay, so the channel is not closed. Okay, so in that case, let's do this. Channel not closed. Save, auto format, great. Run the test again. Okay, so the channel is not closed. Yeah, the channel's not closed. Okay. Okay, but that only emits that thing. Okay, the logger error is not being emitted. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that for now. Okay, we know now that the channel is open the first time it gets called. Channel is not closed. So let's find out what the channel state really is. Okay, the channel state is idle. Okay, so it thinks, yeah, it's fine, we're connected. Okay, well, idle, so could it be that it's just connected so fast? There's one way for us to find out, and that's to run the failing test. Not run the working, the passing test. The one where it fails to connect, and see what the behavior is there. No. The gRPC channel state is idle as well. Okay, so that's not so good, because this should get called. Really? The gRPC channel state goes to idle and does nothing else? Okay, let's put some more debugging in here. So what's happening is that when there's no broker for it to connect to, it's actually calling it's going straight to connection state idle. So where's our set ready and set not ready? Okay, well, we got set ready called. We don't have this one here. So we'll put a debug in here. Ding. Called set not ready. Okay. I have an assumption about what happens when it connects to a non-existent broker. I'm assuming that it starts throwing errors, but that was based on that I've seen it throw errors when it connects to something that's not there. Oh no, let's make this real doesn't exist. Let's try it again. While that's running, maybe it only throws when you try to do something over the channel. Okay. think we might also be able to set the log level here to, let's try this. Yeah, okay. The other thing we can do in this test is we can get rid of this before each and after each because we're not using it. Okay, so it comes up and its gRPC channel state is set to idle as soon as it comes up. It must be only when you try to communicate with the broker that it throws an error. Okay, empty, oh no, okay. This has been declared but never used. So probably the easiest way to do this then is to do this. Just comment out all of this together. I'll run it again. Okay, if that's the case that it only throws when it tries to do something, that'll be why the node red guys are not getting an error. That's for sure. Okay. Let's just do a quick Chrome, Google search, Chrome. So in love with the browser by the sound of things. Let's see what the internet says. gRPC client error on connection. Okay, I think we're gonna have to just, let's provoke the error and test the hypothesis for ourselves. So, in here, if I do, so we create it, and then if I call ZBC2 topology, this should provoke an error. And then I guess we'll console log it. And if we're going to console log it, we're going to have to await it. And if we're going to await it, we're going to have to make this async. Doesn't like that. Disable the rule. Make this async. Okay, run the test. And I modified the wrong test. Lol. Huh. And that's because I forgot to take this comment off the back here, which that one does exist. Take this out of here, get rid of async from there. Although, if this turns out to be what you need to do, I'm going to have to do that. But it is looking like it doesn't throw an error until you try to use it. Okay, this should... Okay, so this is the infinite gRPC retry that causes it to have a problem. Let's have a look. Okay. Yeah. So it was wrapping these operations to have client-side retry that turned into this behavior C, so it's just retrying and it's not notifying the application that there's something wrong. So maybe what we need to do then is we could hook into this retry on failure part and then throw the operation error and only throw it once. But regardless of that, I'm not clear why I'm not seeing... Let's have a look. What causes this? You run the operation and then you catch the rejected promise. Yeah, okay, and the operation gets passed in. So if we go to an operation like topology is the one that's getting done. That's the operation we're passing in. How about go to implementation? Go to implementation. Oh no, come on. Oh no, it's the gRPC client method. So where that gets called is in here. Stream, it's calling what, the sync method here. So here's where it gets called here. Okay, so in that case, my hypothesis about what's happening is that the error events on the channel only occur if it connects and then fails. The connection itself, underlying connection fails. If the underlying connection is never made, then the connection layer never emits an error message. It's weird behavior. It's gone to idle state. Okay, so the client channel starts in an idle state and it cannot connect to the broker, but it never throws. It doesn't consider that to be an error by the look of it. Okay, but we can hook into this error behavior here. Oh man, but we have a problem here because there could be multiple causes for that failure. It could actually be like a business logic error, like you passed the wrong key for a job. So it's not necessarily a connection failure. However, I do remember that I wrote some code up here to detect that. We wanted to... Yeah, is a network error. Yeah, okay. So we can copy this. Copy. And then we can go into here. Okay, so first thing is to clean this up so we can get rid of that. Let's find anything in here with debug on it. Take them out. Let's leave that one in for now. Okay, so we're gonna have to hook into the... Now there are three different types of methods on the gRPC here. There's stream, async, and sync. Stream errors are handled differently. That's when you're like activating jobs. They actually go through that handle gRPC error. Is there no way, but there's no way that I can tell the user that the thing is actually ready unless some kind of call fails. One thing I could do is I could say if there is an onReady okay, yeah, we could do it like this. So if there is an onReady okay, now if there is an onReady then we can provoke the failure by calling the topology method like that. And then what we'll need to do is in the sync method now if there is an error we need to do this.set not ready. And if it does succeed then we'll set ready. Okay, let's see if this works. Failed, called set not ready. Okay, cool, so... Okay, so it calls set not ready. Yeah, okay. Let's get rid of this console.log and this set not ready. No, let's not do that for now. Let's try the other test. So now the other test should pass. Keeping a lot of state in my head at the moment. A lot of assumptions about how this thing works. And I wrote it. But, you know, it's based on a lot of set ready called. Okay, there we go. Does call the onReady handler if there's no broker. So we had to provoke the failure or the success of the connection by calling the topology command. Okay, let me make a note in here. Let's keep notes to keep up to head. Okay. No error is caused in the gRPC connection until we try to use it. To provoke a failure. Because the node red one especially is an interesting one because that actually I don't know whether they make a call or not. Let's have a look. I'm making an assumption about the node red. Oh, can we get there from... There we go.
The most bizarre and brutal series of crimes.
Add connection status. Here we go. Here's the pull request that brought it in. Files changed. Let's have a look. Okay, so this first part here is where they set the status either green or red. Let's complete task. Publish a message, that's pretty cool. Publish start message, node status. So they want it to display can't connect as soon as you set it up. Let's have a look in the code, see if I can find it. That's that node status file, nodes, and there should be like a broker node. Yeah, here we go, here's the broker node. So you can use TLS no auth if you want. You can use long polling. Good idea. And then they just create a client. Now that's not going to throw if the contact point doesn't exist. Okay, so this is going to fix their problem because they want it to show in the visual editor that you've misconfigured your broker. So that's going to fix it for them. Okay. Edit. Not the node status, the other one. Zeebe.
Crime and violence.
Because you want visual feedback. Oh, I got a call in 5 minutes. Okay, but that's good because you shouldn't program for too long without taking breaks. So you want visual feedback about the connection status immediately. In the editor. Okay. I've been coding now for like an hour, so yeah, I'm gonna take a break, and then that'll give my brain a chance to like massage the ideas and continue to digest it, and I'll be back maybe like 30 minutes or so.